for joining me tonight. Now, if you like this video, please take a minute to subscribe or give it a thumbs up. And as always, I love to hear your comments in the comment section. Now, I have my good friend and fellow coach, Helena Hart, here with me tonight.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here.
Helena, I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much. Helena is just such a brilliant coach. She actually coached with me years ago, early in my career, and I'm so thankful to have her, all of her wisdom. She's really masterful at this, so I'm excited to have her. We're going to talk about this topic of how to get a man to commit after sleeping with him. So often, we have the experience of sex with a man, and then there's this moment where is it just going to evolve into a booty call, or is it going to evolve into a committed relationship? So in this video, we're going to share with you exactly some great feedback and tips that you can use going forward so that a man is more inclined to commit rather than just see if he can use you as booty call. So the first one is going to be about vulnerability. And so many times, like after that first time we are intimate, the next morning or later that night, our mood changes and our energy changes about us, and we begin acting very different around this person. Not like we just had this wonderful, great, intimate time with them. So Helena, do you have any tips you can share with us about how to just keep yourself open even after that first time you have sex with a man?
Yeah, definitely. It can be an awkward thing, right? Especially after that first time. Should you say something? Are you waiting for him to say something? And it's almost like you're walking on eggshells, and that is not good for your vibe, right? So Adrienne, I'd love to actually hear your thoughts on this. How do you feel about like you going first as the woman and saying, keeping it very lighthearted and just letting him know that, hey, last night felt great? And of course, not getting all clingy and needy, but last night felt great and I'm off to work now. I'll talk to you later. And just kind of you being the first one to be vulnerable and saying something.
I love that. And it's even okay to say something like, I'm suddenly feeling so awkward. Talk about the big white elephant in the room, or I'm suddenly feeling so shy around you. And then lean back and just see what happens with the man in that moment. But you definitely don't want to switch up the vibe and start acting different just because, you do feel a little on guard or a little self-conscious. Go ahead and allow that moment to be vulnerable where you tell him how you're feeling and see what happens.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in and, it's kind of this stereotype that women get needy and clingy or like demanding after sex, or they think that all of a sudden they're in a relationship and now they have to spend 24/7, like all this time together. And it's kind of every man's worst nightmare, the woman changing into a different person after sleeping with him. So it's one thing to be vulnerable and talk about it and kind of stroke his ego a little bit if you want, if it was a good experience for you, just a little bit, and then make sure that you're still leaning back, you're still in your feminine energy, and you're not going to be that girl that expects the two of you to, that changes the whole dynamic, right? Because likely the reason he was interested in you in the first place was because you were easygoing and, kind of leaned back into your feminine energy. So if you can stay there and be vulnerable and express yourself, if you feel comfortable doing that, that's kind of where the magic is.
Yeah, I love that. It does become magical, and it becomes this ongoing sense of curiosity you have with this person. But one of the worst things you can do is just act like it never happened. Act like it never happened when in fact it did, and you're feeling something. Now, let's say you do sleep with this man and you start to feel very bonded and very connected, and you can't wait to do it again, and you haven't heard from him for 24 hours, then maybe 48 hours, and you're starting to just feel all of your energy is getting all over this man. So the first thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you commit to having sex with a guy for the first time, no one really owes anyone anything. And that can kind of be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, but no one really owes anyone anything. No one's in any sort of committed relationship. I think the gentlemanly thing to do is definitely reach out to a lady the next day, but that's hoping that you have, picked out a gentleman to be with. So in case there isn't any text, there isn't any follow-up, as difficult as it is, don't lean forward. I really encourage you to just keep your focus and keep your energy on yourself and your life, other men that are coming your way that want to date you. And if for any reason you have gotten emotionally involved after sleeping with someone the first time, you might realize that that's just something you can't do. That's just a personal boundary that you can't do. Do you have any thoughts on that, Helena?
Yeah, the reason for doing this is not to play a game. It's not to like see, basically what the reason for it is to see what that man does, because that's going to give you a lot of information about how he sees you. Does he still want to pursue you? We would hope that yes, absolutely, he'd contact you the next day and set up a date for later in the week, for example. You want to see what he does all on his own. Does he keep chasing you? Does he back off? That's going to give you a ton of information about where he's at, because so much of the time sex happens without a conversation, without you talking about what that means for the two of you and for the relationship. If you're able to do that before sleeping with a man, then that's great. But I know from working with so many women, Adrienne, I'm sure you do too, that it's not always happening. Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment and the two of you sleep together and there hasn't been a conversation. So what do you do? And that's the tips we're going to share in the rest of this video will help you out too.
Sure. So I'm hoping this is helping you all, because texting, of course, happens now much more than phone calls do. So there's a real good chance within the next 24 hours, this man is going to text you and he's going to say something like, hi, or hey, what you doing? And this is where, again, you want to unzip your heart and be vulnerable. You might secretly be a little mad that it took him 18 hours to text you after your intimate time together. But I want you to just kind of loosen up on that. Remember, no one owes anyone anything at this point. And let him know how last night felt. And you can say something like, last night felt so fun. I felt so comfortable. And, just end it at that. Make it very succinct, but let him know you did a good job last night. I felt comfortable. I felt happy. Or if it was awkward, last night felt, a little awkward, but it was still so wonderful to spend time together. You're just letting him know what you feel. Now, the big one that often happens during that first text response that you have after your first night of sleeping together is the guy hits you up to see if you can do it again. And as much as you want to, and you want to just maybe go over to his house and have pizza and hang out and have great sex all night, if you really want to make something long-term with him, this is really important to have a boundary in place about, are we kicking off a sexual relationship right now? Or are we kind of building something more? So Helena, do you have anything to share with us on that? If the man asks you over and you pretty much think it's probably going to be for sex?
It's such a great question. I know I've had so many clients where they come to me and they say things like, we were like dating. He would take me on dates, and after we slept together, it sort of slipped into this thing where he just asked me to come over, or he'd come to my house. And it's not all the time. It doesn't all the time mean that the man is just, now he sees you as a booty call or something like that. It is easy to slip into these things. You're comfortable at each other's houses. So that's kind of what you do, especially after a long day of work or something. So if he's asking you to come over and it would feel better to go out first, I think letting him know that would be fine. Like, oh, that would feel incredible. And actually, I've been inside all day. It would feel good to go out. It would feel good to get out of the house for a few hours. Or, I'm feeling so hungry. It would feel good to like go grab something to eat first or something like that. Adrienne, what are your thoughts on that one?
Exactly. So if you're sensing this is an invitation to just come over and we're not stepping out, we're not going out on the town, then that means dating has stopped, and you're moving into something different. And that's where, even if finances are a problem, you can let him know, I would love to go for a walk or just go, browse some stores or shops downtown. What do you think? Or, oh, that feels really tempting, yet it would feel really good to just date and hang out. What do you think? And you're going to let that man know right then and there through a soft, warm, feminine vibe that I'm not just going to come back over and start handing you all this intimacy. Even if it was the greatest thing you had and experienced in a good long while, if you want to build something long term, you're going to have that boundary for yourself and him. Helena, is there anything else you'd like to add about this?
I love that. Yeah, just that, you want him to keep putting in that effort, right? I always say that it's not how much you put into the relationship that determines a man's desire to commit and move things forward. It could be the best sex in the world. You could be amazing in bed, and those are all great things, but that's not what makes a man fall in love and see you as the only woman for him. We talk about this a lot in our program, Find and Keep the One Without Coming Undone, in both of our programs, actually. So it's something else. It's the amount of effort he puts in. It's the amount that he's investing in you that determines this desire to see you as that one woman that he doesn't want to live without. So you want to make sure that the dating doesn't stop. That's really important. And that's kind of my final words on this topic. Adrienne, what about you?
Oh, Helena, thank you. As always, so brilliant, so brilliant. And if you want to hear this topic deeper and even the things that take place in dating to get to that commitment, we have worked hard and we've created 2 programs for you so you can get more support, more information, more of the things that are going to guide you in this process. It is very tricky, and that's what we're here to help you with. So please look down in the notes section and you'll find a little link. It'll tell you all about our programs where you can keep learning more about this topic and other things as well. Helena, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Bye, everyone.